What is ambition? Why does ambition drive us regardless or above all else? Yeah, why does ambition drive us regardless? Now, let's try and separate ambition from motivation. I'm not talking about motivation. You see, motivation comes and goes depending on the source of the motivation. A lot of people are only motivated when they listen to a motivational speech, when they attend a seminar, when they um, mingle with motivated people. So, for some people, motivation is temporary because the source of their motivation is external to them. Just like they say, if your happiness depends on someone else, when they leave, they take their happiness with you. But if your motivation is centered in you, then it never leaves. Just like your shadow, it follows you everywhere. So now we differentiate in motivation and ambition, two different things. But let's go back, let's focus on ambition. Because the thing is, like, just like motivation, you can't motivate another person for long. You can't motivate another person. You can only motivate a person or push them up to a position, then you let go. And then they have to carry on. And then if they lack the internal ambition to drive on, then they collapse, or they relapse. You see, with motivation, you have to buy into it. You know, with motivation, to get motivated, for instance, when you attend like a church, a seminar, music concert, you get motivated. Like you heard nice music and you dance to it, you get motivated to do that because you have bought into it. So for motivation, you have to buy into it. And you see, that is like, so when I repeat buying into it, that means you have to be ready. You have to be ready to invest something of your own to gain something from outside. So you have to give something within to gain something external to you. Just like it is said, to climb, you have to let go. To receive, you have to give. To make friends, you have to become friendly. So to take any of these steps, you have to first buy into the idea and be comfortable with it. And that is why it is said, you can take a horse to a stream, but you can never make that horse drink. Even when you know full well it is for the benefit of the horse to drink or it will die. Once a horse refuses to drink once, it doesn't see the need to drink. There is no way you can make that horse drink. And that's the same thing with motivation. That's why it's different from ambition. Because with motivation, you could see the vision for another person. But once they can't see that for themselves, you are in a dying battle. There is no way you're going to win when you can see a vision for someone and they can't see that vision for themselves. You are in a losing battle. And that's why most of us fail, especially like here in Africa. That's why when you have a vision, you're an entrepreneur. You like, okay, how can I connect with my people? Okay, let me open a business for my people where everyone could benefit. Where we could teach people, train people to become selfless. Let me do something that could benefit people around me. But the thing is, that is your vision. Now trying to, plant that vision on someone else. Why their sole intention is to benefit themselves. And I've seen this most time, they run your business into the ground for self-benefit, for self-glory. All they think about is themselves. And that's why when you have a strong vision and others are not buying into it, it is difficult to push on, because you need other people to have the ambition as yourself, to see the destination as yourself, and to set out with the same intention as yourself for you all to get to the same destination. And that's one of the reasons with a continent with all the world resources is the poorest, with the average person living under $1 per day and another person having 2 to 3 private jets. But let's go back to my focus today is about personal ambition. And personal ambition is, first, let me tell you about what William James talked about ambition. And you might not know who William James is. William James is the first educator to offer psychology. Psychology is the study of human mind. So William James is the first educator to offer a psychology course in the United States of America. And William James is the father of American psychology. That's what he's known about. William James. Just Google William James or use any search engine. William James is the father of American psychology. In case you don't know what psychology is the science of the mind, of human behavior, the study of conscious and unconscious feelings. What you feel, what you think about, your actions, those have all got to do with psychology. So that's why some people can manipulate you without you actually knowing, because they can study you, they could read you. When people say, oh, you read him like a book, that's it, because they understand the power of psychology, the button to push. So that's what psychology is. And you may say, what has that got to do with me? I say it has everything to do with you today and tomorrow. Like psychology has everything to do with you. Your feeling, your thought, your action has everything to do with you today. You might not know it, but you practically functioning based on your school of thoughts, your feelings, and which is reflected in your actions. And even if you take this for granted, take for instance, most of the world biggest sports stars, movie stars, politicians, they all have psychology. They all have we have like most of the biggest sports stars these days, they have sports psychology. They have the best in the world. Still, they understand like there is more. If they want to get to their best, if they want to become the best of all time, they have to explore more about them inner self. And they said we human, we only explore, or we only utilizing 5% of our brain. So by understanding the psychology of ourselves, how our mind thinks, what it thinks about, now we have all these sports psychologists trying to help people understand more about themselves, more about the environment, and how to interpret it, how to read other people. And even closer to home, most of the religious leaders, the politicians, they use psychology to push your buttons. When they pick a chapter or verse in the Bible to preach, or in any holy book, in the Quran, whatever, to preach, they know what that preaching is going to do to you. So they specifically pick that. They don't just wake up and then come to church and just say, oh, I'm going to know. They plan. That's the thing. They make plans in their house of what's going to be preached that day and how that preaching is going to impact on you, how it's going to make you think, how it's going to make you react. Because everything we do as humans starts from our feelings. Our feelings, our belief. We believe in something, and then we could exhibit this. So before they step out that day, they have a whole program plan of how the preaching is going to make us react, what action they seek. So there is a plan. Nothing comes from chance. Everything has been pre-planned. And that's what I'm saying. You cannot take yourself out of what psychology does to us human every day. The people who understand how to push our buttons, they make us take action without us actually knowing that we've been pushed, we've been orchestrated, we've been manipulated to take some actions. But we think this is of our own doing, like it's a free thought that we've come to this conclusion. No, you have been conditioned to think this way without actually knowing it. And this is why someone could preach something and make you give more than you actually have, make you take up arm against other people based on how they make you see those people. This is what psychology is, and this is what most of the educated people are using on the less educated people. Psychology, being able to push a button. And this, all I'm talking about, goes back to ambition. Ambition, having a set goal, because they know their destination and they know their location. So therefore, they know where they want to take you to and they know how to take you there. This is what ambition is. So you see, your everyday life is directed by other people's psychology. You have never been in control. You've never been in control of your thoughts. You've just thought you are making these thoughts of your own free will. But the truth is, you have never been in control of your own thoughts. The only truth is everything comes from or has a single origin. But how they are interpreted to you by various leaders of faith or whatever, that's why we have so much factions and fighting each other's and pushing one person's agenda ahead of another person's or group of people. This is simply because we have been made to believe that this is the ultimate truth above all else. That is, you either with us or you against us. That it is the sole truth, and most of us are ready to give our lives. Why? The unknown truth, because we believe, because we've been made to believe this thought. And thought is feeling is actions. We've been made to believe that this is the truth, and that's where ambition comes in. Why? Because when we personally have no plans for ourselves, we have become part of other people's plan. And that's why ambition is very, very important. Having an intention, setting a goal, knowing your direction in life. So you see, we're never in control. Psychology has been used to manipulate you from your work, from your social life, from your religious center. Every button has been pushed to direct you where you need to be directed, to make you become a tool to serve a bigger purpose for some specific group of people. So what am I talking about ambition? Let me tell you, the dictionary defines ambition as an eager desire for distinction, power, or fame. Having or showing a strong desire and determination to succeed. That is ambition. When the external desire is stronger than your desire, then of course the stronger desire would always win. That's why you have to have a personal ambition centered within you. You have to wake up and be able to think for yourself, what is my plan for my life, for my children, for my family? Where am I going to? What direction? Who am I impacting? Especially who is impacting me? Am I listening to, is life being interpreted for me, or am I taking the power to research things and understand for myself? Am I taking people's word for what it is blindly, or am I thinking? Have I sold myself? And going back to ambition again, you would see from the word ambition, there is that word eager. Eager. What does that mean? We are more excited. For instance, we are more excited on our way to accomplish something than on our way home. Like you're going for dinner, you're more excited. You're going to amusement park, you're more excited. You're going on a date, you're more excited on your way there, anticipation, than when you've concluded. That is why the joy and power of the process, of the journey, the suspense. But most people want to jump over this whole process and land on the result, and that's where we go wrong, because the joy of the journey is actually more important than the result. That's why regardless of what you have in life, when you get to that position, you want more because the process is more enjoyable than the destination. So now that's where the difference comes in wishes and desires. We wish for the result of achieving our goal, but we must have the desire to work and stay on the process, regardless of how many times we fall or get or fail. But the desire to get back on the bike and keep trying and keep fighting. Just like you see a child, when a child starts learning how to walk, they fall so many times, then they develop a fall pattern. So every time they fall, they just collapse gently so they could stand up and continue until they achieve their goal of finally walking. And so we should be like a child when we're going through difficulties. But the only way we could be like a child is to have an ambition, to learn how to fall gently, knowing full well that you would be able to get up, carry on, and keep fighting till you get to your destination. And why does a child succeed more than we adults? That's because a child has no distraction. Their sole purpose is to get up and walk. And so, if we put ourselves in that position where our sole purpose is to get to our destination because we have an ambition, we could fall and fail as many times as possible, but we will carry on, continue, and keep trying till we get to that destination. So, we would never rely on external factors, on what people say, on what people preach, on what people do, because we are so centered on ourselves, our destination, and our goal. And that's why John C. Maxwell says, failing forward. So by as a child falls, it gets up and it carries on. So that's failing forward. So you fail, that's not the end. It's only an obstacle. You get up, dust yourself, and you carry on. Why? Because you have an ambition to. You have an ambition to. You could see your vision. And that's why, like in boxing, once someone gets knocked down and they never stand up, that's it. But for every time they stand up, they have the opportunity to win, either on point or knock the opponent out. So for every time you stop trying, that is it. It's done. There's no until. There's no the possibility of achieving your goal. Every time you stop, it is done. It is over. You are done. That's why you must keep trying. But first, you must have the ambition that push you, the drive, the engine in you to see a goal. Nothing comes from nothing. You cannot keep trying to get to a place where you have no destination. Therefore, you must set out with an ambition, a goal, or target. So for most people who try and stop and give up is because they don't have their own personal ambition. They've not started the journey with intention. You are riding, or they're riding on another person's psychology, another person's vision. And because you cannot see the vision, or no one can see a vision for you, you fall off because you cannot see your destination. That's why it's very important to have your own personal ambition centered within you. Even the Holy Book says, my people die for lack of vision. You see? So ambition ties in with your vision. You see what no one else can see. Just like an architect, when they about to draw a building, they see the completion of the building before they actually start, because they see what no one else can see. That's why they say, before anything changes in and around you, your wish. A lot of people have wishes, I say, especially religious setting, they wish. But your wish has to become a desire. If you desire to change, you will put the work in. You become better at your work, your place of work, your marriage, your businesses, even at giving. You become better at giving other people, or helping other people, because you see a goal, you see a destination. And that's what ambition does. And the thing that I want to emphasize today is ambition. It's locked in with desire. It says eager desire. Desire is backed by discipline, the eagerness to build step by step, little by little, day by day, knowing full well you are getting closer to your dream every time, even when you fail, knowing full well that step by step you are getting closer to your dream. And I know this is new to a lot of people, and many people have gone on through life without thinking. It is true, many people function day to day without actually thinking, what can I do for myself? What can I do differently? What can I think about myself without being, without, how can I research even what I've heard from other people? It's difficult because it takes eagerness, discipline, ambition to plan, and then to execute each day successfully. That's why there are fewer successful people than the rest of us. In fact, it said 3% to 97% ratio. There's only 3% of successful people in the world compared to the 97% of the people who would rather do nothing. Why? Because it's easier to do nothing than to do something. It's easier to stand on the cliff and look down than to jump and hope your parachute is gonna be pulled. It's easier. They said the lack of courage is not running or hiding. No, the lack of courage is being in your comfort zone and not being able to take that step. That's the lack of courage. That's why when you have an ambition, you do. You don't wait for motivation. You do, knowing that motivation will come because you have a goal. When you have to go to work in the morning, you don't wait for the motivation to kick in. No, you get up knowing you have, even though you don't want to, you have to get out of bed and go to work because you know you have to. That's how you have to apply in your life. Like these days when I feel like, I want to exercise, I want to go down on my bike. I don't wait for the motivation. I just know, like on my timetable at 6 o'clock, I'm on that bike regardless. I don't wait for the motivation because if I wait for the motivation, I probably would never do it. So because I have it planned in my diary, 6 o'clock, I'm on the bike. 6 o'clock, I'm on the bike regardless. And that's how you should treat your life. You should have a set plan, a goal, just like you have a shopping list. You go to the shop, you will get this. If you don't have things to shop, everything goes into your basket. So what's the difference between the 3% who are very successful and the 97% of us who are standard, basically standard, going through life day by day? They say, regardless of our history, regardless of how you started in life, regardless of your educational background, your school, your parents, your connection, your country, your skin color, your religion, your race, what separates us is the intention, the ambition. What separates us is the intention we start off with. And this is what I always refer to Oprah Winfrey, the intention. She always talks about the intention. The intention we start off with, that's what separates us. The faith we have in ourselves, knowing that I will pursue this goal regardless of how others says it, regardless of what other people say, regardless of the taking laughing at me, whatever, regardless of others people's advice, objection. Our own personal intention and ambition keeps us on track, regardless of the weather. You go out for a run. When we're breaking down, when others are breaking down, this pile of accident or in front, fog so strong that you can't see 100 meters in front. When other people are turning around because they can't see through the fog, you persist. If you must, you reduce your speed. You do not turn back, but you carry on. You carry on towards your goal. You must do. That is, for you, it's a must. It's a must. Like you must do. You change your strategy, but you carry on towards the same destination. Turning back is never part of your option. For you, there is no turning back. You get to your destination or you die, or die along the way. Those are the two options you have. You have no turning back. There is no turning back inside. Why? Because you have the ambition, you have the intention, you have set out to achieve a goal. That is it for you, period. But you might say, why do some people get to their destination and others don't, even when we all have ambition? And the answer is a well-defined goal with clear intention from the start. That's what separates other people. Other people's goals are fuzzy, blurry. It's not planned out, it's not written out. It's thought about, but it's not kept. Your brain can only handle a matter of things. But when you have a clear, defined, written down goal from the start, not blurry, clear as a whistle from the start. And that's what makes some people achieve their goal and others don't. Plan. I'm not talking about wishes, no. Because wishes focus on the result, but not how to get there. Not how to get to the result. So wishes are not clear. They're not precise. Wishes are blurry. I'll take you back to William James. Describes success. Success as a combination of two things. An inner ideal or an inner idea which is followed persistently. Listen to that word, persistently, with courage. Persistently with courage. He says intention sets the ambition to follow process regardless of your start in life, regardless of you came from we grew up, like I grew up in a poor area, in a poor neighborhood, one of the poorest in Lagos. But there's very few people, but there's some people who made it out there, who made it out. Why? Because we've all come from the same situation, the same environment. But those people made it out. Why? They have a clear intention. They never allowed their observing mind to overcome their selective mind. They took advice, but they selected what's good for them, what's beneficial to them. So that's how you have to go about life. If you want to make it out of your environment, you have to have the selective mind and the observing mind. The observing mind observes, and then the selective mind picks what's useful. Like a plant. A plant doesn't hold all the rain that falls or takes all the sun that shines. It takes what it needs to grow, to get to the next level. We have to be like that. They say practice till it becomes perfection. And the second part of success is the outer achievement. And our outer achievement relates to the idea that we have in the start, the beginning. That's what I'm talking about, intention. That's what I'm talking about, ambition. So for whatever you're exhibiting or you're displaying outside, it's basically what you have inside. Because what they say, your feelings becomes your thoughts becomes your action. So when you have an intention outside, it's easily displayed out. You have an intention inside, it's easily displayed outside. That's why when someone hears a nice news, they smile. We could see smile on the face. And when they disagree with something, they frown. Because for everything you feel inside is displayed outside subconsciously. That's why when you focus on negative, you attract negative. You say, why? No, I'm running from negativity. But because you are centered around it, you attract it. You see, when you have an inner idea that is followed persistently with courage, your outer achievement, now you start seeing results. You might not achieve your goal instantly, but you become better than yesterday. And that's what we have to do. Just become a little bit better than yesterday, step by step. Just by outdoing yesterday, little by little, step by step. That's all we need to do. For instance, when you start hitting the gym, after a while, you start seeing some results, little by little. It all starts from the intention and improving on it. Little steps every day. You can't make every change in one day. No, it's almost impossible. But it's a gradual process, accumulation of effort, little by little improvement, process by process. That's why maybe sometimes you go to the gym and you see some people, they hit the gym, they spend 3 hours in the gym lifting massive weight, maybe 100 kg, 150 kg. and they do this maybe once a month, and then you don't see them again for another 3 months or so. And then there's the person who goes to the gym maybe just 5 times a week and only train for half an hour, 30 minutes, just doing 25K. But that person who is consistent, just doing 25K, would surpass that person who does 100 or 150K once a month. So success is consistency, ambition, daily input. And how does this start? It starts with the intention inside you, and it's reflected outside. And later everyone can see, oh wow, you are looking toned. What have you been doing? What have you been eating? What have you been lifting? But you have intention and you are persistent with your intention. They say when you change inside, you actually don't need to advertise outside. Other people would see the change outside. They will see the result. When you start understanding how other people's psychology, how other people's vision affects you, then you would have a selective mind to take people's word, advice, and interpret it for yourself. Then you would start asking the question instead of responding to a situation or reacting to a situation. You will start asking the question, is this beneficial to me and to the people around me, or am I just being led? And how can you start today, you might ask? One thing each of us need, or all of us need, if you want to become better, work on the services you offer to other people around you. Work on your services, improve on yourself. Like we human, we basically customer service. We're trying to sell ourselves in every situation, to workplace, to wife, to colleague. We sell ourselves. So work on yourself. Work on yourself. There's a word from Timaya. Timaya. He says in his music Don Dada, it says the best investment you can do is on yourself. If you don't want people to start rejecting your calls, hiding from you, work on yourself. So when you start working on yourself, you don't have to worry about the problems that will come, the obstacles, the negativity from other people, the gossip, the put down, the mockery, the laughs on your expense. All this, they're part of life. Just like rain and sun comes, rain and sun comes, night and dark comes, like when it rains heavily, the soil takes the rain. Even erosion washes off some of the sands into the sea. But still, some of the plants who stays are left, they flourish. They take what they need. They don't overfeed themselves. And that's how we have to take life. And some people could let those gossip and backbiting and backstabbing destroy them. But for others, that's the motivation they need to get them to their destination. That's correct. You should use all those as a motivation to get you to your destination. Just as the wind blows, you should let that wind push you to your destination. Just as the river, the stream flows, the current, you should let that ride take you to your destination effortlessly. And the good thing about this is, like, regardless whatever you are going through every day, there are people out there who have gone through the same thing in the past. What you're trying to overcome today, there are people who have done this in the past. Maybe you might even know some of these people, or you could read about them in a book. I suggest you do. How else will you learn to avoid all the mistakes they've done in the past, all the pitfalls, all the fails, all the successes? But some of these things are recorded in books, free of charge or for very little amount, for you to learn from these people. You can never rely on your own mistakes alone. It will take you hundreds of years to keep learning from your own personal mistakes. If you have the opportunity, maybe talk to them, learn from their mistakes. Sometimes everything we need for a better future is already there for us. But because we don't think, or we don't want to ask questions, we don't want to look silly. Take for instance, you're about to go on holiday to a city or vacation you haven't been. You always ask people, you know, or if there's no one around you who's done the same thing before, you read a book. Or, I mean, people used to read book, but these days you go on, you use the search engine. You read other people's review, people who have no connection to you. You read their reviews. You rely on the experience. Now you can make the decision for yourself. There's good reviews, there's bad reviews. But why are you doing this? You're asking people who have already done this, so you don't experience the same mistakes. You want to experience, you want to have a good experience of your holiday, of your vacation. Because you can't rely on your own experience, you read reviews. The shortcut make life easy for you. So if you can do this when you're about to go on holiday, why don't you do this when you come back on holiday for your life, which is more important than going on a 1 week or 2 week vacation? If you could put all that plan, all that time invested in a 2 weeks holiday, how come you don't do this for the rest of your life? And that's where ambition comes in. Because for the holiday, you have an ambition to have a good time. But for your life, it's like you don't have the desire to live a good life. You just have wishes. Don't spend your time visiting all the hotels and checking if they're good or bad, writing your own review. No, you go straight to other people who have done it and learn from them. That's what life should be about. Learn from people who have done this in the past. Have they succeeded? Have they failed? Where have they succeeded? Where have they failed? And then you can come to your own conclusion. That's what life is all about. We can't change. I keep saying that we can't change what's going on out there. The flow of the stream, the flow of the river, the flow of the tide, the flow of the wave. We can't control this. But all we can do is use the tide, the wave, to work in our favor. You can't keep swimming against the tide and hoping to get to your destination. It's almost impossible. The tide will overpower you. The tide, the wave, would carry you to its own destination, which would most likely land you in some waterfall where you fall to your death, or land you take you out to the middle of the sea and drown you. And that's what happens when we let other people guide us, lead us without asking questions. When we become part of other people's plan without being able to just ask the simple question: how does this work for me? Where is the direction this tide going? Is this my direction? Do I need to change? We become powerless. Why? We have no set ambition. We have no intention. But the thing is, you can control how you use the power of the tide. You can actually ride the tide to carry you to your own destination effortlessly without moving a muscle. That's when they say the wind of change. Riding. You've seen surfers. You've seen surfers when they ride the wave. When they ride the wave, they use the power of the wave to carry them where they want to go. That's using the power of the wave. We can do this in our lives. When we have an ambition, an intention, we don't allow other people to use us as a tool. We set out intention where we intend to go, and when we work with that, when we're not sure, we ask questions. But when we seek the right people to ask the question, not people who are going to give us answers based on their own overall agenda. We take what people say and we interpret it for ourselves. Why? Because we have an ambition. Does it sit well with us? Is it going to empower us? Is it going to encourage us? We don't become a tool in someone else's toolbox. And how does it start? Because you have taken the time to plan your intention. You have an ambition. Let your ambition go to work. First thing, planning stage. Ensure you understand the flow of the river. That's the thing. Ensure you understand the flow of the river. Ensure you understand what you're being told. Ask questions. When you don't be ashamed to ask questions, you are entitled to. You're not a slave. You are entitled to. If someone prevents you from asking questions, therefore you should know they have no good intention for you, because they never want you to know. And even when you're given an answer, take it home and have another look. Is this beneficial to me? They say change what's going on inside you. You change what goes on around you. For instance, when I talk about the power of the wave, I remember going on holiday in Togo, our neighboring country to Ghana. And every morning when I go out for a run on the white sand beach, very early in the morning, I see fishermen going off into the sea to fish. And these fishermen is like maybe 6 or 5 of them to a wooden boat. I see these fishermen. Now they study the waves. And when the waves is ready to retreat, that is when you see they push their boat into the waves so it carries them on into the sea. Sometimes they don't succeed, but soon enough the wave carries them up and over the wave into the sea. Just by planning, just by having an intention, they can defeat the almighty power of the wave. So by changing how they think inside, what happens around them changes regardless of the obstacle. You know how powerful a wave is. A wave, you've heard about tsunami, you heard about storms. When they come, they destroy the whole environment. And people could take advantage of this just by having ambition, having intention, studying, knowing, understanding, knowing when to take advantage of the wave. And this is what I'm telling you is happening to your life. When you refuse to have an ambition, someone is out there plotting how you would become a tool for them. And how have these fishermen, how did they get here? One, this person experienced trial and failure, but most importantly, they have learned from people, other people's experience, people who have done in the past, people who have succeeded, and people who have failed. And that's why I keep saying to you, you should read books. In whatever area you're interested in, you should read books. You should learn from other people's experience to become the best of yourself. Not the best of another person, not trying to be like that person, because you might have a different experience, but use that person's experience to help you become the best of yourself. You see, by reading other people's who have succeeded and failed, it encourages you to push on. You become more inspired, more ambitious. If they did it, I can do it. And it's all about the ambition, the inner goal, the self-centeredness. And I'm not talking about becoming jealous, envious, selfish, or greed, using other people to get ahead, selling your own people for personal wealth, taking advantage of people, of ignorant people by promising them wealth they have not planned for or they are not ready to work for, by asking them just to close their eye, fold their hands, and keep just either praying or repeating affirmation without the desire to work for it, just so they can enrich themselves on the back of other people, or why those people perish in poverty. Some people get this, some people get to this goal by creating fear in other people. So when they place you, they drive into a small corner. They make you powerless, ignorant. They place you in a corner where it's you against the bad and they seems like the best option you've got. Like you can only run to them, or they become the best of the two options. And therefore you have become part of their plan. Why? Because you have no intention. And when you have no intention, basically you have no destination. They say when you refuse to make a plan, you become part of someone else's plan. And that is the truth. Most of us have become part of other people's bigger plan. For them to live lavish, for them to have a mansion, for them to have whatever. But for us to remain in poverty, only to be promised a better tomorrow. They become your saviors. You see them as God-like human on earth. They manipulate you for personal wealth. And like even in the Holy Book, there are many people who acquired wealth through the exploitation of other people. But we all know how they ended up. So it's not a new thing for people to exploit other people to acquire wealth. It's just don't be that person. Don't be that person. Take the time to understand yourself, your environment, your life, your family, what you are here to do. You are here for a bigger cause. Why? But you need to have an intention. You need to have a goal. You have to start from somewhere and say, this is where I am going. Nothing else would stop me. I will listen to advice. I will take what people say, but I will do this research myself. Ambition is working to achieve for the greater good of all. Ambition is not being in competition with anyone at all. Ambition is working in cooperation to enrich the greater society, yourself included. And I leave you with this final word. If you have not become, or if you have not made a plan, if you have not made a plan, a list of for you what you're going to achieve for yourself, you are currently today part of another person's plan. And that's why you are in poverty. You can't even fuel your house or run your generator. I mean, of course, you have no light. You can't even eat a comfortable 3 meal a day. Like balanced diet with fruits, nuts, and banana protein, all the macronutrients. You can't even eat a balanced diet, or pay your house rent. Why someone else is living in a mansion? A mansion is not enough. They're driving a private jet. Private jet is not enough. That's it. Why? If you cannot have a set plan, which is your ambition, you are currently today part of another person's plan.